You want to go ahead and start us off, Doug Feinberg?
Afternoon, Coach.
Hey, Doug.
I got two questions for you. The first one, obviously, is Paige was the first freshman ever to earn the AP award today. You've had a lot of really good players, obviously, and you've seen a lot of really good players. What does that mean, say about her, that she's the first freshman ever to do this?
I mean, every year there's a lot of deserving players. Some years more than others. I think it's a result of Paige's individual excellence, what she's done, and what she's done for our team in getting us here to the Final Four, and how dominant she's been in the biggest games that we've played. So, you take all those things into consideration, and how much she impacts the game. Totally impacts it. There's always other players that you could say are deserving, but Paige certainly is, based on everything that she's done this year and based on handling all the expectations that have been obviously, that she's been carrying around since she started school at the end of July.
And my other question, the other night, I don't know if you heard or saw Kim's comments about COVID and how they shouldn't test for the Final Four. I know you know COVID well since you went through it. I'm curious if you had thoughts on just her comments about how they shouldn't test, because you'd hate to see a kid come out with a positive test and potentially have to miss the biggest game of the season.
Well, Kim and I had a conversation before the game, and we talked about that, and how it would be tragic if you had to suspend a whole team and a team gets a bye into the championship game. So I understand that line of thinking. I also think Kim's comments, they're being criticized, but in reality, what Kim was doing was an extension of a conversation that we had, a Zoom call with the the head of the NCAA medical staff, who said to us coaches that after the Sweet 16, that having been in a bubble for this amount of time and having been tested every day for this amount of time, the chances that someone would test positive between, Monday or Tuesday, whatever, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to use their words, were remote. So I think that's where the comments, were, a result of those conversations that were had. And as you can see, people have various opinions on, whatever their opinion wants to be. Me, I'm okay if they test. I'm okay if they don't. But this, from what I can see, this didn't just pop out of Kim's mind, out of nowhere with no context. So that's kind of the context behind that. And I'll just leave it at that.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Mike Anthony.
Thanks. Hey, Geno.
Hey.
I'm wondering to what extent Paige's impact as a freshman surprised you, given any like general or bottom line expectations you might have had for her before she started practicing with your group, before you guys got started playing this year. I think at one point, correct me if I misinterpreted, but I think you said couple times along the way. She's even better than I thought she would be. So I'm wondering how does the performance match up versus the preseason expectations for her?
Well, not knowing what was in store for us at the beginning of the season, when Paige was coming out of high school and getting ready to enroll in school, you know, I thought back to when Maya was a freshman. I thought back to when Dee came in as a freshman, Stewie, when she came in as a freshman. I tried to think back to some of the most hyped players that have ever come to Connecticut. And I tried to think of what their freshman year was like. So, you know, I gave that some thought, and I thought, you know, Shea Ralph, even Nikisha Sales, you know, how many national high school players of the year, you know, have come to UConn with these great expectations. And I thought, you know, sometimes it's not bad for a kid in that situation to come off the bench. You know, it gives them a sense of, you know, hey, let me see the game. Me and I, a chance to diffuse some of the pressure, let the air out a little bit. So I was kind of all prepared for whatever. But that was in the back of my mind because we had done it so many times. You know, people remember, Diana wasn't even Rookie of the Year in the Big East, much less National Player of the Year. You know, and she was a pretty good player. I mean, she was MVP at a Big East tournament and MVP of the Eastern Regional by the end of the year as a freshman. So I was kind of throwing, you know, around a lot of things in my head. But once practice started and once we were together for about a week, and I saw the way she handled herself, the way she handled, you know, the things that were being thrown at her, how she managed, you know, being in that situation among players that she just barely knew. Once I saw that, both in drills and in playing and pickup, whatever the case may be, that's when it kind of went out the window, and it was, you know, we've only been here 2 weeks, but she's the best player on our team. And that's kind of when I said, I didn't expect this to happen this soon. I knew it would happen at some point. I just didn't expect it to be that quickly and that evident. So nothing that's happened has surprised me. How quickly it's happened and how quickly it happened and how consistent it's been throughout the year. That's been quite surprising and quite rewarding, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Alexa.
Hey, Geno, hope you're doing well.
Doing
I wanted to ask you about Adia, actually, kind of a two-part question. One, what do you remember from that 98 Sweet 16 game when she was a player? You guys faced them, if anything, and also just being able to watch her from afar and what she's been able to do at Arizona. I think they're the first Final Four team to advance to the Final Four after not playing in the previous 10 NCAA tournaments, and just what she's been able to do to turn around that program in her short time. What's impressed you the most from her perspective as a coach?
Yeah, it's a shame. They would have played in the last year, obviously. You know, we didn't have a tournament. But I remember Adia as a player clearly. She was an impossible matchup for anybody at any level. You couldn't guard her with a guard. You couldn't guard her with a forward. She just was an absolute great basketball player. You know, smart, you know, really tough, skilled. And I remember playing them in the Sweet 16 game in Dayton. And You know, we were missing a couple pretty good players. You know, I think we were missing Shea Ralph and Svetlana Brasimova got hurt in that game, and I think maybe something. I think we may have been missing Nikisha. I don't know how that went out, but I know we kind of dominated the fourth quarter. You know, the last 10 minutes of the game and ran away from them. But it was, you know, it was all about, for us, it was all about, you know, guarding her and trying to contain and isolate her as much as possible. And, but she took up the focus of our scouting report. And now you fast forward and you go, when Adia took the job at Arizona, Arizona is not even the number one women's sport at Arizona. Softball is. So here you're coming into a program where basketball has never been, you know, never been it. And she's made it, their softball program is legendary, don't get me wrong, but she has made women's basketball at Arizona supremely important. And she's just, I think, a coach for the future who's having tremendous success in the present. But she's what future coaches are going to be like, you know, players that played, they were tough, they were smart, they go into the game, they understand it. They manage the game. They interact with their players in a way that's just really, really impressive. And I've gotten to know her and her family, and I couldn't be happier for any individual to see them in the Final Four.
Doug Bonjour.
Hey, Geno. You talked to Kristen, obviously, after the game the other night. I was just wondering, if you could discuss anything you said to her just after, she missed those 2 free throws. And I guess branching off of that, she also has a big, defensive assignment again on McDonald on Friday. If you could just discuss that too, and again, kind of hit on how, she's performed defensively.
Well, Kristen had a couple different games during that game. She really struggled at times. She played exceptionally well at times. There were times where she looked like she was maybe drifting away from us at both ends of the floor, offense and defense. And she fought through it and got it back, which to me is unbelievable sign of growing up right there in front of your eyes. And that's why, I set up, we had the out of bounds play with 15 seconds left or whatever, right in front of our bench. And I set something up where she's going to get a layup. I mean, she's going to get a layup. All she has to do is set a screen. But what I didn't count on was the person she was screening for, who I knew they would switch, was Paige. What I didn't count on was Paige doesn't listen when I talk anyway. So, Paige never waited on the screen, so we never got the switch that we wanted. And Kristen made a great play and came out, got the ball, got fouled, and then, the free throw situations happened. And but I thought, to me, the biggest story of Kristen Williams during that game was how she played great, lost it, and instead of going and staying lost, she got it back and came back to help us, win a game that I don't know that we controlled any aspect of that game after the first 5 minutes of the game.
We'll go to Carl.
one of your graduate assistants played at Arizona. Would you guys bounce some things, thoughts about playing Arizona off of her? Would you not want to put her in that position? And what has TT added to you guys this year?
I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to sit down and get an insider's view of what exactly it is that they're gonna do Friday night. Obviously T has, friends there. She knows the layout. She knows obviously how things go, but I don't know that these are some secret war plans that we just have access to that are going to put us over the hump. I don't think that's how this goes. And she's a great young lady. She came here to learn. She came here because she wants to coach. She came here to be a part of all this, and she's worked exceptionally hard. And she has some tough shoes to fill. When you think about some of the people that we've had in that job, and I couldn't be happier. Really, I think she's done a magnificent job.
Any update on Nika?
Nika had a MRI, X-rays. She's had everything you can imagine, and obviously it's one of those high ankle sprains that bothers you for a long time. And today, she got on the court for the first time and went up and down a little bit. Spent a little bit of time for the first time since last week, or whenever it happened. And, gave it a shot. What that means is really nothing, because we need to see how she wakes up tonight, wakes up tomorrow morning, how it feels. But the fact that she could get out on the floor for just a little bit today is a real positive sign.
We'll go to Michelle.
Yeah, Coach, this is Michelle Vopel from ESPN.com.
Hey.
I guess I wanted to just go back to what Doug was talking about, if you will. Were you concerned at all that there could be a false positive or something that might keep somebody from playing in the final weekend? Or was it more a case of, like you said, that it was so remote that somebody would have it? And also, has it been difficult or tricky as a coach talking about these issues? And I ask that because Mulkey has been pretty much excoriated nationwide for talking about it. Have you found that a difficult thing at times this year to talk about COVID, if you will?
Obviously, Michelle, there's a lot of, this past year has shown us that there's a lot of difficult topics to talk about, that if you express your true feelings, whether there's facts behind it or not, people have already made up their mind whether they're going to believe it or not, and they're going to react a certain way, whether you like it or not, on a variety of subjects. COVID has been such a controversial subject, from the beginning. We had an administration that made it controversial, and we have a country that made it controversial, and it became a nationwide, like, plant your flag, and this is where I am, and this is where I stand on it, and I don't care what you think about it, and I don't care, whether science says this or that. People believe what they want to believe. There have been false positives here. That was one of the issues that we talked about, was on the men's side, using the PCR test. And here they were using the antigen test. There were quite a few false positives here that weren't in Indianapolis. So is there a chance that could happen between now and Saturday or now and Friday, and when some player or some team can't play, I guess there's always a chance of that. There's nothing 100%. But going by what our medical staff said to us as a group of coaches, the chances of something happening beyond, the regionals was remote. Now, that's provided everybody stays and does what they've been doing. Stay within the bubble, keep your bubble tight. Don't let anybody in, don't let anybody out, obviously. So that's the information that's out there. And, Kim being Kim and being as emotional as she is, there were some facts behind what she was saying. And it's unfortunate that, it came out the way it did, and no surprise that people have reacted the way they've reacted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Alec.
Hey, Coach. Alec White here from the Arizona Daily Star in Tucson. I'm curious what you've seen of Aari McDonald this year and the impact that she's brought, and any similarities you see between her game and Paige's game.
Well, I think Aari's a little more, I think she's like a 6-year senior, no?
Yeah, she's a 5th year.
Yeah. She's way more experienced than Paige. She really, really knows, like, you get her in that pick and roll, and man, she's just this snaky and sneaky and tricky and just talented, and she knows every ins and outs of that, of how to run that. She's fearless as an offensive player. She's a first-team All-American defensive player. So Jamal Elliott, who's handling the scout for us, I said, Jay, what are we doing here? She said, I don't know, Coach. We're playing against Allen Iverson. So I said, okay. I'm gonna have to call some of my old coaching buddies in the old Big East and go, how do you prepare for Allen Iverson? But she's a dominant player who kind of like Paige. The similarities are, there have been numerous times, more than you can count, where she just carries her team and wills them to win, both with her physical talents and the intangibles that she brings, and how hard she plays. So I think she's a phenomenal player. She's a tremendous individual. And I don't know that there's anything that any one team or any one player, I should say, has been able to do to completely stop her from doing what she wants to do. So our staff feels like this is probably the most dominant guard that we will have played against this year. No question.
Jordan.
Hey, Coach. Jordan Ham out of Sports 360 AZ here in Phoenix. You talked about Aari, but what jumps out to you about the rest of this team as they navigate new heights that a lot of the remaining programs in the Final Four have already been to and experienced?
Well, first of all, they play exceptionally hard. They compete exceptionally hard. Defensively, they just are relentless. And they get contributions from the whole team. So when you have that kind of base to work with, then anything's possible. Anything's possible. So they shoot it just well enough. And lately, in the NCAA tournament, they've shot it great. So between their defense, how incredibly hard they compete, and they're making shots, and they're getting contributions from everybody. And I think Adia's got this kind of temperament, so she's going to keep them level. I don't think they're going to be afraid of the moment, and I don't think they're going to be whacked out over the moment. I think they've got a lot going for them.
We'll go
I
to
think they
Rod.
got a lot going for them. Huh?
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I'm saying they got a lot going for them, and I can
All right,
think
we'll
of
go
a lot
to,
of- I could think of a lot of other teams I'd rather be playing the morning, Friday night. Trust me on that.
we'll go to Roger and then Joe.
Geno, with the uncertainty right now with Nika, are you happy with the rotation? I mean, do you have enough depth with the way that Aubrey stepped up a little bit? And, are you at the point where you can put Anna in there? Anna?
No, I'm not happy. I'm not as happy as if we had Nika 100%. No. If we had Nika 100%, we're a different basketball team. Much different basketball team. It's you don't replace a defensive guard like that, defensive minded guard like that. Hey, not that she would be able to guard Aari McDonald, don't get me wrong. But that would give us another defender that we could, switch up and let Aari see a different look. And we don't have that if Nika doesn't play or if she's not playing at 100%. Anna can't do that, and Aubrey can't do that. That's not what they are. It's not who they are. And it gives us an opportunity, if we have Nika, to give E a breather. So she doesn't have to play 40 minutes like she did the other night. Give Kristen a breather, or give Paige a breather. So they didn't have to play 40 minutes. So not having Nika changes a lot of things. Changes a lot of things for us. And I think Anna and Aubrey have helped tremendously. Those 2 charges that Aubrey took in the Baylor game were huge during that stretch. So we're going to get contributions from those 2, for sure. But they won't be the same kind of contributions that Nika would make.
Joe.
Yes, hi, Geno. I don't know if the word is opportunity, challenge, or responsibility of now coaching the kid who has just been told she's the best player in America, and you've got her for a couple of more years.
Well, somebody told her she's the best player in America because they voted on it and gave her an award. And I'm happy for her. But until I tell her she's the best player in America and that she does nothing to learn and I don't have to coach her, then you know what? I got no problem, and she's got lots of problems. Because, her problems are just beginning. Because now if you're going to say, well, like, you should have seen the game against Baylor. If you watch it, go back and watch it. And watch the defense that was played in that game by the UConn guards. And then say, man, they must have a split. This must be like the NFL. They must have a split award. Offensive MVP of the year and defensive MVP of the year. So yeah, yeah. Her problems are just getting started, Joe. Trust me. She's gonna rue the day she won this award.
We'll go to Jordan and then Pat. Jordan.
Sorry about that. I didn't lower my hand. Sorry.
Gotcha. All right, Pat, you can go ahead.
Geno, if Paige were a male player, she would likely be considered a one and done candidate. Obviously, that can't happen on this side. With all the talk of, parity between men and women, do you see that rule changing anytime soon? Should it change? And on a kind of separate topic, do you think there should be a way for her to monetize herself while she's in college?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all of that. Yeah, it's all of that. Kids should have choices to how they want their lives, how they want to live their lives, and how they want to take control of their own lives. All the stories that you read about Paige and Jalen, at Gonzaga, and the two different paths that they're on. Two kids from same neighborhood, same background, same, everything, go to school 3,000 miles apart, and their paths are 3,000 miles different. One is going to have an opportunity probably to be the 1, 2, 3 pick in the NBA draft and make millions and millions of dollars, and the other one is going to be back at UConn. So should she have the opportunity to go? Should that choice exist? Well, if the WNBA and the players say yes, then she should. But as of right now, the answer is no. And I'm okay with the answer being yes, but I really like that the answer is no, because that's what's helped our game grow. The fact that these kids stay in school a little bit longer, build a brand for themselves, build a brand for the university. You take somebody like Caitlin Clark that just got to Iowa. If she would leave at the end of the year, but she stays 2 or 3 years, she gets to build the Iowa brand nationally. So I think that's what's the beauty of the women's game. Now, while they're there, while they're in college, should they be able to benefit? Well, that's coming, right? That's what the NIL is. That these kids are going to be able to benefit from what they do, which is going to cause a whole nother sort of issues. That when you go recruit a kid now, it's, hi, Mr. Bueckers, hi, Mrs. Bueckers, hi, coach, and hi, coach, this is my agent. So tell me what I'm getting. Well, you're going to get books and, dorm, you get food and you get this, you get that. And oh, by the way, here's what you can make at our school if you're any good. And now every school, unless there's some kind of guidelines, every school, depending on where you are, is going to be able to offer a kid something different maybe. So now you become professional sports where all the best free agents all go to the same teams. But that doesn't change my mind that kids should have a choice and kids should be able to be compensated. Correct.
We'll go to Troy and then Mike.
Hello, Coach. Troy Hutchison, All Sports Tucson, and I apologize if you've already answered this, but Arizona is known for their defense. Where do they rank in terms of teams you faced defensively this year, and what goes into beating a full court press?
What goes into beating a full court press? Well, you got to be able to pass the ball well. You have to have enough perimeter players that can attack it. And that goes back to, how would I feel if we had Nika, one more guard to attack it. The best defensive team we played this year is Baylor. Bar none. And Arizona is a different kind of defensive team. They do it a little bit differently. But I think the two best defenses that we've seen, we've played one of them already, and that was Monday night. And we're getting ready to play another one on Friday. And how do you beat a full court press? You score. You score. So I've always said, you know, when a team presses you and you score and you score and you score, what are they going to do? Press harder? I don't know. When a team presses you and you don't score and you turn it over and you don't score and you turn it over, then you know what they do? They press harder and you get blown out. So there you have it.
Mike?
Thanks. Geno, Diana said yesterday she thinks that you're having more fun on the job than you have in years. And I go back to your comments after you won the Big East Championship about this team rejuvenating the program, and whether it's specific to the newcomers or just the group as a whole, what's it been like for you to coach this team? It seems like you really enjoy its personality. Some days anyway.
I may have made this comment somewhere recently. You lose track of who you talk to anymore in these events. But this is one of the tightest knit groups that we've had in a long, long time off the court. So they've got that. They've got that. They are very, very, very close group off the court. And that might be pandemic influenced, that they've had to spend so much time together. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the court, in the beginning, it was lots of fun watching the, you know, the newness of it. After a while, that wore off. And there were, you know, times in November, we got a break from COVID, not having to go play Louisville in November. Trust me, we would have got blown out. And December came. And there were moments in December and January where I didn't want any part of this team, because they were so good off the court. They were so tight. They were so together off the court. And they were everything but that on the court. And then, you know, you realize everybody's trying, but they're going in 20 different directions. So every day for me was just one frustration after another, after another, after another, after another. It didn't matter what we were trying to teach, it wasn't working. It didn't matter what you would say. By tomorrow, it would be gone. It didn't matter how much progress you made in 3 days. The fourth day, you'd have to start at the beginning. So that was a couple months of that where every day was excruciating. And maybe because of that, I think what's happened since the Arkansas game, and we've kind of all come together now on the court and off the court, that having gone to those depths and come out of it, I think that's what all the fun and all the joy and all the, you know, the life comes from it, because I was drowning there for a long time. I'm not afraid to admit it. I was drowning. And ever since the Arkansas game, I feel like I've been reborn. And
Thanks,
it's, you know, like Dee said, it is fun. It is fun. It is fun. It's fun like it was fun coaching her. no point in getting mad. They don't listen anyway. So what's the point?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sean and then Alexa.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the old adage. They say coaches coach and players play. Obviously, that is true. But going into this game, obviously, this whole tournament, you guys are young, right? But the X factor is you and the staff, you and CD and so forth. Going into something like this, your calmness and so forth, how's that been with such a young group that's kind of wide-eyed as they progress in this thing?
Well, you know, me having been here a lot, obviously that gives our players, I think, a little bit of confidence that, hey, things go bad, you know, coach will bail us out. You know, Jamel's been here a lot as a player and as a coach. CD, you know, been here every step of the way. There isn't anything that we're going to see these next two games, if we're fortunate enough to play two, there isn't anything we're going to see Friday night or that we saw against Baylor that surprised you. Now, that doesn't mean you can do anything about it. That doesn't mean you can handle it. You just know, yeah, I've seen this. I know what this is. And so, you know, you can calm them if they get rattled, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. But, you know, the beauty is that, generally speaking, they really believe that they're better than they are, which is mind-boggling to me when I watch them. I mean, they actually believe they're better than they are. That's why sometimes it's hard to talk to them. So when things don't go well on the court, there's almost this like, yeah, okay, I got it. Except there was a look on their face in the Baylor game going, Coach, we don't have it. Oh, now you need me, huh? All this other time, hey, no, Coach, I got this. Yeah, I'm good, Coach. I'm good. Now you're looking at me like, Coach, can you help me out here? Ah, I see. So I just want to be there for when they come to their senses and actually ask me, Coach, can you help me out here? That's basically what my job is right now. Because you know what? This is the worst part. We're talking about, this is the worst part. I said, Paige, you know, you almost cost us because you didn't wait for that screen. And she just walked away and goes, we won. And that was her answer to everything. Didn't argue with me, didn't do anything. I said, Paige, you know, you could have cost us on that event. We won. That's it, I'm done. Just walks away. Now, you know, this being 2021, you know, I could only like take 2 steps and try to, then I had to back off, you know, like Jimmy Dugan and, you know, League of Their Own.
All right, we're gonna finish off with Alexa and then Doug.
Geno, I wanted to go back to what you mentioned about the Arkansas game. Was
I'm
there?
surprised you're not gloating over that Stanford win last night.
You know, Louisville had me a little worried there, but look, this UConn national championship game is still alive, and we'll see what happens.
It's not like a Stanford person to not gloat over a W.
Well, I gotta exceed expectations. With the Arkansas loss, was because you've talked about how this team is competitive. So I'm curious, did you actually have to say anything for that switch to happen? Was that something the players figured out amongst themselves, within themselves? Were they just so upset that they lost that they got it together? Or was there something you had to say to get them to kind of get all on the same page and come together like you described?
I think the Arkansas game at Arkansas, it wasn't that we lost. It was the way we lost. And I said this to the team. I truly believe that stretch was a brutal stretch of how many games we played on the road. Okay. I truly believe that when we went from Arkansas to DePaul, that had we played as poorly against DePaul as we did against Arkansas and got blown out at DePaul or got beat at DePaul, I think this season would have gone in a different direction. But after that Arkansas game, there was a true sense of embarrassment on our team about how we played. No disrespect to Arkansas because they played great. They played great. They deserved to win that game, 100%. But we were embarrassed as individuals and as a team. And again, because there's such a close-knit group off the court, I think that kind of coming together and saying, hey, that's unacceptable. And that's, to me, that's where the change really took place.
We'll go to Doug to finish it off.
You talked about how much fun you're having. But just wanted to ask you, what was it like to surprise Paige with that award after the Baylor game Monday night?
Well, it was fun because we won. I don't know how much fun it would have been had we lost that game, and I wouldn't have done it. Number one, I would have waited till we got home. But the problem is you had to do it because the announcement was, obviously today. But I wanted to do it in front of the whole team because I know how much Paige values her teammates, and I know that she's so appreciative of everything that her teammates have done for her. And I wanted her to be able to stand there and verbalize that to them, how much that award means to our team and to them as much as it, meant to her. And she probably gets killed on social media for any award she wins. But nobody voted, for her to be in the Final Four or to get 28 the other night. And she earned that on her own. So there are things in life that people vote and they go, here, take this. Great. And there are things you earn. So I think Paige earned everybody's vote. And then she earned, by the way she plays, the right to be here in this Final Four.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone. We're going to have something else tomorrow through the NCAA. I believe it's at 1:15 Central, but I'll send out info soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Geno.
Thank you.